The Eagles head into Baltimore as 3-point underdogs. This game features two of the highest scoring offenses, each with top tier quarterbacks and MVP candidates. This is the highest projected point total of the week, so we should see some fireworks. Having said that, our first bet is Saquon Barkley over 19.5 receiving yards. The Ravens have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. They're first in yards per carry allowed and second in yards per game allowed at 77.9 yards per game. As a result, opponents are running against them at the second lowest rate, so we are projecting for an increase in pass rate. Conversely, against running backs, the Ravens defense is fifth highest in targets allowed per game at 6.9 and fourth in receiving yards allowed per game at 45.5. With Devontae Smith out last week, we saw a concentration in the targets among the Eagles receiving core, with A.J. Brown leading the way with 7 targets, Dallas Goedert was second with 5 targets, and Saquon Barkley was third with 4 targets. And that was with the Eagles throwing at a 38.2% rate. And considering the opponent this week, we're expecting closer to 45 to 50% pass rate with upside for more depending on the game script. Last week, we saw 2 different running back screens to Saquon Barkley, something we haven't really seen from this offense in the past. And it's clear the Eagles are trying to figure out ways to get him more involved. We're again expecting Devontae Smith to be ruled out with injury, and Johnny Wilson has already been ruled out with an injury as well. And as a result, Paris Campbell has been signed to the active roster. So we should continue to see a concentration in targets among their top 3 options. We're currently projecting for north of 30 receiving yards for Saquon Barkley, and he's gone over 19.5 in 6 of 11 games this season, and he's gone over 40 in 3 of his last 4. The only game that he did not go over 40 was against the Dallas Cowboys in a game in which he did not play in the fourth quarter. Moving on to our second bet, we are going with Dallas Goedert over 42.5 receiving yards. Again, we were taking this number for a lot of the same reasons we took the Saquon Barkley number. It's a play on the Ravens' run defense and the higher projected pass rate. In addition to that, the Ravens have had one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL this year, as they're 24th in yards per attempt. The Ravens' defense has not fared well against tight ends as well, as they're ranked 4th highest in targets per game at 8.1, receptions per game at 6.0, and yards per game at 65.8. Dallas Goedert was second in targets per game last week with Devontae out, predictably so, and although he didn't hit his yardage, his underlying metrics show that he should bounce back. The Ravens are likely to push the Eagles with how good their offense is, so I would expect more downfield targets for everyone in this offense. And Goddard was running downfield targets last week, the ball just often went to A.J. Brown. Looking at our last best bet of the week, we are taking Lamar Jackson over 224.5 passing yards. This is a discount based on the Eagles' pass defense. They're currently first in yards per attempt allowed at 6.2, but they've been even better since the bye week, as that number has dropped to 5.5 yards allowed per attempt. But the Eagles' defense has played a lot of subpar quarterbacks in that time, such as Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones, and Cooper Rush. They did play Joe Burrow and Matt Stafford, and both of those quarterbacks went over the 224.5 passing yards that Lamar Jackson's over-under is set at right now. Burrow did that without T. Higgins as well. And Lamar is currently leading the NFL in passing yards, and he's almost identical in yards per game to Stafford at 254.4 passing yards per game. This Ravens offense is healthy, and they will open up their offense when opposing teams really push them, and the Eagles can do that. And this Eagles defense has been a pass funnel as of late, mainly due to their good run defense. The 224.5 passing yards is already a big discount, and I'm projecting closer to 240 yards per game. That will be it for today's best bets, and as always, good luck to everyone, and we'll see you again next week.